Hello again, everyone. Michael here with Felicity, November 8033 Fox, a Cessna flight training device that I built right here at home. It is Monday, the 19th of June, 2023. I hope you all are doing well, wherever you may be around the world. Rob Valkyrie, good evening. Hello. Welcome on in. St. Barts. Supposed to be one of the most difficult approaches in the world. Tango, Foxtrot, Juliet is our identifier for this evening of our destination. Before we go too far into the planning phase of our flight, I want to bring in a YouTube video, and it's about 10 minutes long, but it discusses a little bit about the approach, some of the procedures, talks a bit about mandatory reporting points, and this idea was actually brought to me by one of my by a member of my small community on Twitch and Discord. But I'm really kind of excited to see how it plays out, to see if it lives up to the hype and expectation of kind of what I'm hoping. So let's go ahead and bring this video in. Now, I did reach out to the owner of the video, requesting permission for us to go ahead and use it in, on top of our stream. I did not get a response, so I'm hoping with the proper accreditation that it's not going to pose an issue. So without further ado, we'll bring the video in. I am going to pause it at a few points, and I want to discuss a couple things. We'll just kind of go from there. So we'll take a look at the video, we'll discuss a little bit about the video afterward, and then we'll start the planning phase of our flight from Princess Julianna to St. Bartholomew Island in French Polynesia. Is it Polynesia? I think it is Polynesian Islands. So bear with me, let me get that video pulled up here, and the screen's going to look a little bit funny while I make that transition. So yeah, let's get that right in. And I do want to thank you all for coming in and hanging out for a bit this evening.
I'm going to try to land my plane at one of the most difficult airports in the world. St. Barts is famous for its super steep approach, ultra short runway, and gusty winds. It's become a popular challenge on VATSIM and even caused some real-world pilots to crash. That's why you need special training and a signed endorsement from an instructor to land here. I've been trying this on VATSIM since I was 9 years old. And now, after a year of planning, 22 flight hours over 6 days, 1,600 miles and 7 countries, we're here. It's time to land my plane at St. Barts. Since I don't have my endorsement yet, Lainey and I flew into St. Martin, just 17 miles away. Alright, customs took 40 seconds. Now we're walking 12 minutes to our hotel, so hopefully this will work out. We checked out town, got some dinner on the water, then headed to the hotel to get some sleep before my training the next morning.
Are you a little nervous?
No, I'd like the weather to be better. It's still windy out there and there's like rain around, but make it work. The plan was for my instructor Maxime to airline from St. Barts to St. Martin, hop in my plane with me to go down and do the training, then I would come back, pick up Lainey, and we'd fly back to St. Barts to do the landing together.
There's nothing more powerful than you, making your thing happen, doing business on your terms.
Clear prop. Traffic, Cessna 22318 taxi.
I don't know if it was just me, but that 150 seemed like it took a long time to fire up.
Seeing to Alpha will be a VFR departure to St. Barts. Grand Cost Cessna 22318 departing runway 12.
A lot of crosswind. Make sure you get stick it to the wind. Get some speed.
Yep.
Lower the nose because you got some turbulence there. So pick up some speed. Aim for that island called Green Cay.
Yeah.
It's very turbulent today.
Yep.
I can start turning direction of St. Barts.
After departing St. Martin, we made a right turn and flew at 1,500 feet through a special corridor of airspace toward Foreshoe, a small island about 10 miles ahead.
Foreshoe in French means looking like a fork.
Okay.
You see as we get closer what it looks like. Okay, you can probably call and it's a semi traffic also.
St. Barts traffic, Cessna 22318, it's a Cessna 150 approaching Horseshoe from Grand Cas, full stop.
Number 22318, good morning. Runway news 10, wind 020 degrees 20 knots, QNH 1016.
Roger, we'll plan on runway 10, 22318. Okay, so this is Horseshoe?
No, yeah, Horseshoe's right on below us.
Okay.
So the wind is 020 for 20 knots, so that's pretty a lot of crosswind, and probably on that kind of approach, I will be doing a runway 28 left hand. That's what probably we'll do later on, just so you know, because like I said, today's going to be complicated. We'll see how it works.
So, after Horseshoe, we head for a pointed rock called Sugarloaf, where we'll turn inbound for runway 10 for our first landing. Okay, so we'll stay at 1,500 over Sugarloaf, and we report Sugarloaf inbound?
Yep. One notch of flaps, maintain altitude. No, don't turn yet. We're going to maintain an altitude.
Okay.
Alright, we're going to turn final. You call final, throttle back.
St. Barts traffic, Cessna 22318, over Sugarloaf, turning final 10.
Roger, wind 030 degrees 19 knots.
Okay, the wind is pretty strong, so you don't want to line up with the runway at that point because the wind is coming from that direction. We're a bit too low here, so pitch up and that's power.
You said you want to stay offset,
Yeah,
right?
you want to stay outside, yes, because the wind is coming really from that side here, so it can help you. You'll see right at the notch, there is a bit right behind this house. We can see it's right in the middle of the notch. That's going to be a target. Alright, we'll slow down at that point here. I'm going full flaps up. Okay, so we don't see runway, we don't care because our target is the house.
Okay, let's go flaps 30.
Okay, make sure you add some power. And we're going to come high, and you see the windsock, one is on the left, and the other one is on the right. It's just a bit of shiny on that, difficult to see at this point. Okay, don't go too low, as the wind's pretty windy today. And 318 is on, coming on short final, 10.
Roger, 020 degrees 20 knots.
Copy. Alright. Okay, slow down. You see the wind is pretty high, so that's why okay.
Ooh.
Power, maintain. Give me some power. Alright. Alright, go slow down now. Get the power completely.
Alright, real quick, I want to point out that the instructor did mention a windsock on the left and a windsock on the right of the approach end of runway 10. Now, for this evening's flight, I am using the latest X-Plane Gateway scenery for St. Barts. However, it only had the one windsock on the left-hand side of the 10 arrival. And it wasn't in the right place, so I did have to do a little bit of work with our scenery for this evening. Relocated that left windsock to its proper position, and because the windsocks in X-Plane are so short, I actually put this one on a 13-foot tall wooden pylon, so our windsock is actually elevated to give us a bit more visual on the approach. And the windsock on the right hand side of runway 10 was not even there, so I added that windsock in as well. So we do have our two windsocks that we're going to be using as our aiming point for runway 10 as we get in closer to St. Bartholomew. Yeah, he definitely does look nervous. So I think the instructor, because the crosswinds at that point was so high, was actually kind of helping. And he's not, the pilot is not a student pilot by any means. He's already got his instrument rating when he did this video. But he still needs to get this endorsement from an instructor in order to make this landing on his own. Alright, so let's continue on.
Moving good. It's just that it's pretty good. No power.
No power. Gonna go around?
No, we're good.
No more spreadsheets. Automate your sales process with DealHub. Generate
Advertisement.
quotes in minutes and streamline approval workflows with DealHub CPQ.
Register your small business with a fellow small business owner. Talk to an agent today.
Okay, so clearly that landing was a bit on the extreme side. With 20 knots coming over the mountain at a direct crosswind and only 100 horsepower to get you out of trouble, Maxime isn't feeling great about the conditions for training today. We're going to try one more and see how it goes, but I might not be able to finish training and get my endorsement.
Weather 615, good morning, Roger. Runway news 10, wind 020 degrees 20 knots. KLH 1016, Caravan Sunbelt, current gas, PC12 from Sugarloaf to left base on runway 28. Traffic at the holding point for local training.
For takeoff, we'll put probably one notch of flap. And if somebody on final, November 22318 will line up and take off for 2.
Runway 615 and Sugarloaf 10, you could take quick vehicle.
Okay, we'll line up and take off 22318.
Original Godspeed, hello my friend, welcome on in to answer your question. We are using the most recent X-Plane Gateway Airport. It's not included with any X-Plane version yet, but it is the most recent one on the Gateway that's recommended. So I did have to download that, and I had to modify windsock locations on the 10 arrival end. To match the locations and height in the real world. But the airport itself is in fact, I didn't do anything with the actual airport. The only thing I did was change the location of one windsock and add the additional windsock on the 10 arrival.
Alright.
Okay, mixture full rich, flaps 10.
Okay, turn. Alright. Stick it to the wave. Gotta get some speed.
Yep.
Roger, short final, 615.
And right to the wave. That's gonna help us get some.
030 degrees 199.
Alright, we'll maintain 060 for now.
Yep.
We're gonna climb to 1,000 feet.
Okay. On departure, we turn out over the beach for the first waypoint to start flying a left pattern back to runway 10.
As we reach 1,000 feet, we keep on climbing on the finishing part of the crosswind line, so we can reach 1,500 feet. Very important. Why? Because if you have traffic leaving behind you, going to Grand Cas or Julianna, they will be at 1,000 feet.
Okay.
So
that's something we need to keep in mind. If we do have to do a go-around for vertical separation for aircraft that may be going to one of the other surrounding islands, we need to be at 1,500 feet because you need that 500-foot separation. And like he just said, if there's an airplane departing out of St. Barts and they're going to Grand Cas or Princess Juliana, they're only going to be at 1,000 feet. So our pattern altitude is going to be 1,500 feet.
Need separation.
Separation is very important. Hey, keep climbing, and you can stop turning now. 900 feet, 1,000 is good enough.
Okay.
And we'll go to 010, and we keep on climbing. Alright, start turning now. We'll see how it is, but if it's too windy like that, I mean, we're going to stop, doing the training because it's really too windy for this kind of type of rain. I mean, you saw how it was.
Yeah, it was pretty aggressive.
That's pretty aggressive on that. So here you would call Saint-Bart traffic. November 22318 is on the left downwind for runway 10.
Saint-Bart traffic, Cessna 22318, left downwind, runway 10.
Roger. Wind 040 degrees 20 knots.
Yeah, basically, we have this rock I was telling you about. It's called the beef barrel.
The small guy?
Yeah, the small guy here.
Okay.
So basically, when you're on top of it, you probably don't see it, but you're at the end of the downwind leg and the crosswind. And usually, your right wing will be over Fuchshoot.
Okay.
And the left wing will be over Sugarloaf. So that's kind of a good way of finding out where you are in terms of downwind leg versus base leg.
Okay.
Designing an SUV for the electric age means redesigning what an SUV can be.
Which probably should be about that.
Right, right.
All right.
Yeah. Good. Saint-Bart's traffic, Cessna 22318 on final over Sugarloaf, runway 10.
Roger. 040 degrees 20 knots.
Okay, so flat 4 flaps and stay high. Basically, if you will be dropped.
Alright, I'm going to back this up for just a minute, and let's look at this altimeter on final approach.
Cessna 22318 on final over Sugarloaf, runway 10.
So he's at 1,500 feet on final approach. Now, most of us know that standard pattern in the U.S. is generally anywhere from 800 feet to 1,000, 1,000 feet AGL in your standard pattern. So we're gonna have that additional 500 feet to consider on our final approach descent.
Roger. 040 degrees 20 knots.
Okay, so flat 4 flaps and stay high. Basically, if you will be drawing a line between the two windsocks, that's what.
Okay, this is what the thing that I was just talking about recently.
If you will be drawing a line between the two windsocks, that.
Okay, so this windsock was not present in the scenery, so I did add this windsock in, and it's pretty high. So like I said, I mounted the windsock on a 13-foot wooden pylon, so it does kind of gives us a good elevated visual for our approach.
That's where.
And then this one was there, it was just in the. It was more or less on top of the road here, so I kind of had to relocate it, up on the mountain where it's actually supposed to be. And again, we put this one on a wooden pylon as well, simply because the X-plane windsocks are, their height is not all the best. So.
The altitude you want to pass over.
Okay.
Stay high. Okay, no, not too much power. This one to stay high. Okay, stay high. Alright, go to full flaps now.
Full flaps. Deal 40?
Yep. And get the power. No power.
Power's out.
Once we're here, we should be covered by those hill there. And we're good? I got it. Alright,
Nice
five
and
reps.
After another wild ride, it's just not feeling safe to continue. The wind over the terrain's creating pretty intense turbulence, making it hard to control the plane and maintain a stabilized approach. So Maxime's decided to suspend our training. With Laney still in St. Martin, I decided to leave my plane here and get on an airline flight back. I'm frustrated the weather didn't cooperate and worried that after coming all this way I've missed my chance to get the endorsement. Today's flight was by far the most difficult thing I've ever done in a plane. I can confidently say landing at St. Bart's is even harder in real life than it is on flight sim, and even more fun than I could have imagined. All I can do now is go back to St. Martin and figure out when I might have a chance to try again. But for now, you gotta zoom out. Remember where you are and how much fun you had getting here, and enjoy it.
Just landed in St. Martin, walking over to Maho Beach to go meet Lainey and watch planes on the beach.
We're on the adventure of a lifetime, and through all the uncertainty with storms, headwinds, close calls, no-goes, we figured it all out. And I know we'll figure this out too. See you soon, St. Bart's.
Alright. So unfortunately he wasn't able to actually get his endorsement. I am kind of looking forward to part 2. And again, that preceding video, courtesy of YouTube channel Fly Me to the Fun. So let's take a look at where we're at and where we're going and how we're gonna get there. We are using real world weather. I'm not sure what the weather is just yet. We'll find out in just a minute. But right now I have us loaded up at Princess Julianna. They actually departed out of Grand Cas. But I think what I want to do for our trip is hop from Princess Julianna over to Grand Case and do a full stop there. And then we'll go ahead and make the departure from Grand Case and follow this corridor at 1,500 feet down to St. Bartholomew. What I want to do, what we need to do is find out as much information as we can about where we're going. And since I have ForeFlight up right now, one of the cool things about ForeFlight is a lot of times pilots will leave comments in ForeFlight about the airport. And that's one of the first places I go to see any sort of, I don't want to call it a pirate, but just pilot comments about the airport. So let's take a look at St. Bartholomew, and we're just going to go right into the comments and read these, and then we'll talk a bit more about the airport itself. And 6 years ago, a pilot said that if the winds, you've got south winds, a low offset approach to the left is best in order to compensate for the updrafts on final as well as tailwind when over the runway. So what I'm getting from that, and let's bring in, okay. Alright, so winds coming from the south. He's suggesting a low offset approach, so you got those winds kind of coming up. You know, the lower you are, if you get one of those updrafts, it's not going to pick you up too high to where you're going to miss your approach. That's what I'm taking from that comment. And then north winds is the opposite, a higher offset approach to the right is best in order to compensate for the downdrafts on final. So there must be some terrain here to the north that's causing the winds to kind of come down, and more so push your airplane further down to the ground. So that's why they're recommending a higher offset approach with winds out of the north. Winds less than 10 knots, a 2-8 approach is best with low to calm winds. Choosing runway 10 may lead to excessive floating due to the lack of relative wind, as well as a tailwind on final and over the runway. So with calm winds, they are recommending a runway 28. And then one further about the APIS frequency. And then another comment VFR procedures for St. Bart's, but it requires a special pilot certification by the French aviation authorities to land there. But I did find this VFR procedure, so let's go ahead and pull that up, and we'll go over that real quick, and then we'll actually start the planning portion of our flight. So give me just a second. We'll bring this back in here, and we'll go over here, and let me zoom in on this thing. Okay, hopefully everyone has be able to read that now and follow along. This came from Jeppesen, a couple years old, but I imagine not much has changed. Reduce visibility from the tower towards east end of the runway. On departure and prior to any movement, aircraft must contact AFIS. Takeoffs on runway 28 prohibited. Night takeoffs are limited to medevac. Night landings on the runway are prohibited. Operations on the runway prohibited if crosswind is greater than 25 knots when the runway is dry, or 20 knots when the runway is wet. So they reduce the allowable crosswind. They reduce the allowable crosswind when the runway is wet, and I can only imagine that's to, keep your airplane from skidding across the runway on final. Birds in the vicinity of runway, parachute and paramotors in the vicinity of airport, and talks about presence of fencing. Several hot spots around here, it looks like. Hot spots seem to be places of a lot of runway incursions. So it looks like just about every taxiway seems to be a hot spot. What else we got? Runway lighting. Visibility. Ground movement. Strict respect of helicopters, parking stands, access to limit the impact on lateral surfaces, clearance, and the nearby obstacles. Helicopters don't really affect us. We're in a GA aircraft. At holding points A and D, no visibility on traffic on final. Holding points A and D. So if we're holding short runway 10, we may not have any sort of visibility on any traffic coming in final approach. I don't know if there might be a building there obscuring that view. I'm not sure what may be obscuring the view at A here, but they seem to think that visibility is limited or no visibility. Let's see. Okay, tower, terminal, parking designations. This is kind of what I'm wanting to see. What we have here is, okay, it's not a large picture, but we kind of get the idea. Sugarloaf is apparently a jagged rock that comes up and sticks up out of an M sign. You may be correct, the hill could be limiting that visibility. We'll find out when we get there. Sugarloaf is apparently a rock sticking up out of the water. That's one of the mandatory reporting points. Whether we'll be able to see that, I'm not sure. And we've got the ortho. If anything, we may be able to see it may be just a flat image that we see on the water, but we will do our best to try and report that. And then let's take a look here. Horseshoe Island, I'm assuming, is going to be... That's not it. Alright, there's Horseshoe Island, and as we saw in the video, is, as the French said, shaped like a fork. So let me pull up. Let me see if I can overlay my ForeFlight on here real quick, just so we can. And it might look kind of funny right now. Let's add this. Add. Let's see. Window. ForeFlight. Okay. Alright, maybe I'm hoping this will do what I want it to do. Yeah, I think that'll work out alright. That's not what I wanted. I want to bring this back up here. I really should get a second monitor for my streaming computer. That way I can... Alright. Okay, we got ForeFlight on top. Okay. So, this is one of our reporting points, Horseshoe Island. So, let's make a note of where that's at. So, that's northwest. So, what do we got here? After takeoff, mandatory left turn. Mandatory reporting points. Over or beam Horseshoe when coming from the north. So that's going to be us because we're coming from either, well, we'll be coming from Grand Case after our departure from Julianna. So we're going to have to report Horseshoe. Grouper. They didn't discuss grouper, so I'm not sure which point grouper would actually be. But we'll report Horseshoe if we have ATC on. I don't see grouper anywhere. And then Sugarloaf, as we heard in the video, is a rock sticking up, and Le Pain de Sucre, so that could be French for sugar somehow. Okay, maybe that's actually it. Okay, so that could very well be Sugarloaf right here. Now I'm curious, are we going to be able to see that on the sectional? Negative. Alright, let me grab my pen real quick and we'll mark this on ForeFlight. Okay, so Sugarloaf. And then this was Horseshoe. We're not coming from south or southeast, so we don't have to worry about the Cocoa reporting point. So we need to be over Sugarloaf at 1,500 feet. And here's where that extra 500 feet comes in. We were talking about for our final approach. JPC, welcome on in. Hope your day has been well. What else do we need to know? We've got Horseshoe marked out here. We've got Sugarloaf marked out here. Sugarloaf puts us on final approach, and we'll be descending from 1,500 feet down to the runway on final, as opposed to my typical 800 to 1,000 AGL on final approach. So it's going to be a steep approach to final. What else do I want to find out about where we're going? Runway 28, let's take a look at this just in case we have to consider runway 28 for landing. Looks like they have right or left-hand traffic. Going around is prohibited in short final. Interesting. Takeoff is prohibited, which would also explain why going around is prohibited. And again, mandatory reporting points. Over or beam grouper when coming from the northwest or west. Let's see, where's... Alright, so if Horseshoe is coming in that way, I'm betting that grouper... If we follow kind of this arrow here, looks to be maybe 15 to 20 degrees off of Horseshoe. So this here is probably grouper, because this is we're talking VFR here, so these aren't waypoints. This is going to be something that we're actually going to have to see. So I'm assuming that this is going to be grouper. Horseshoe, grouper, and Sugarloaf. I think those are going to be the only ones that are really going to affect us from where we're coming from. Okay, anything else here? No. Okay. Do we need anything else from this Jeppesen chart? No published approaches. No final approach fix. No missed approaches. Again, lots of hot spots on the runway area, taxiway area. It looks like every entrance to the runway they've deemed a hot spot. So there must have been several incursions that have happened over the years. And back to our visibility. (2,119 feet to work with. Okay, let's brief this. We're going from TNCM, and then we'll do a full stop at Grand Case, TFFG, Tango Foxtrot Golf, and then our final destination. I mean, it's not a very long flight, but I think we're going to be doing several in the pattern if this is going to be as fun as I hope it's going to be. Let's pack for this, and then we'll brief it real quick. Discuss weather, winds, NOTAMs, that sort of thing. Okay. Altitude, we know we're going to be no higher than 1,500 feet. So let's go ahead and select 1,500 feet for cruise. Let's make sure that I have the right performance profile set. Okay, that's not what I want. That's what I want there. Alright, let's send this over to a flight and brief this thing real quick. It's probably not going to be a very long briefing. What's yet? Hello, my friend. Been a minute. Hope you're doing well. Retrieving briefing. Okay, our surface analysis chart, and we're actually kind of way over here. METARs, we got departure out of Princess Julianna. Winds are only 6 knots. We might have to change that. I'm assuming that St. Bart does not have its own reporting station. Looks like it's pulling it from Princess Julianna. The winds are actually lower than what I was hoping for today's flight, so we may manually inject some higher winds, depending on how it goes once we get to St. Bart's. But right now, winds are 080. So yeah, that's almost a headwind for runway 10. That might not be as much of a challenge as I was kind of hoping for. So we may have to change that once we get there. We'll land at St. Bart's, see how it goes with the actual winds. If I find it to be too easy, then we will manually inject some higher winds, and at that point probably have to disconnect from the VATSIM network, because VATSIM does need real winds, pressure, and temperature. Terminal area forecast. Looks like about 8:45 p.m., so maybe about 25 minutes. It's forecasting winds are closer to 12 knots. Take a look at our wind chart. Yeah, winds are, what is that? Almost directly on runway 10. 10 to 15. About 15 knots there. 20. Looks like it gets over to 20 knots over the water. And then back down to maybe 15 knots on this wind chart here. Vertical cross-section chart kind of shows us that's weird. Let me go back here and look at something real quick. I did set that to, nope, sure didn't. I set it to 3,500 feet. I want 1,500 feet. That's going to change things just a little bit. Make a new flight. Alright, let's delete this one. And create a new briefing. Okay, METARs are going to be the same. TAFs are going to be the same. Wind chart's going to be a little bit different. Same sort of trend though. Looks like 10, 15, 20 knots. Coming from the east there. each longer line, let me see if I can get a good example. Each longer line is 10 knots. A half line is 5 knots. And the dot is where the wind is blowing to, not where the wind is coming from. So we got the winds coming from, well, depending on how you're looking at it, the winds are going to the dot there. Okay, vertical cross section chart. This looks better. So looks like we are going to have a bit of a headwind as we make our way there. Winds aloft. We're not going to be too far aloft. But how about that? 18 knots, 18 knots, and 1,500 feet. So it is almost going to be a direct headwind. Departure NOTAMs. Taxiway E-close at Julianna, which isn't really going to affect our flight on the simulator, but it's something that we do need to call out. Bird activity. Some sort of directional beacon out of service. Permanently withdrawn. Destination NOTAMs. This is where we're going. And it's got nothing other than concentration of seagulls. Good to know. En route navigation NOTAMs. Yeah, if we were, this stuff would be more important for IFR type flying, or if we were using a VOR for one of our navigations. Looks like there's a VOR DME that's not maintained at Juliet Mike Zulu. Yeah, none of that's going to affect us right now. And route special use airspace, not too concerned about this right now. ARTCC NOTAMs, this is where we would find any sort of possible ATC delays. Don't see anything major there that's going to affect us. Yeah. But again, we're going to be on VATSIM, and I don't know if we're going to have any sort of overlying coverage, so we may just be making traffic calls on Unicom the whole time. However, we are going to do our best to at least call out the reporting points. You know, we're going to fly the appropriate altitudes. Okay. Briefing, not too bad. Not too bad of a briefing at all. Let's take a look at Grand Case, because we're going to do a full stop here as well. So let's familiarize ourselves with this airport. What's weird that I've seen is that they all use the same tower. Julianna Tower, let's see, that's 118.7. We go down here to Julianna. 118.7, and St. Barts is also Julianna Tower, 118.7. I thought that was kind of interesting. Alright, back to what we were looking at in Grand Case. Talked about the weather. Let's talk about its runway. So it's got a significant size runway, almost 4,000 feet long. It's longer than my home airport's runway. It is 1230, 100 feet wide. No special arrival procedures or anything like that. So I think we're ready to head to the plane. I'm gonna print off. In fact, I'm just gonna do this now. I'm gonna print off that Jeppesen chart or take that with us just in case. Well, if there is a center online covering these airports, then we will have to talk to center because they're controlled. Alright, I think we're ready to head to the plane. I've got our jet chart. I've got our flight plan. We did the briefing. And we're gonna have plenty of fuel. I'm gonna fill up both wings. But let's just do quick weight and balance. A lot of this information is fixed. In fact, I really don't think anything's going to change here as far as weight and balance goes. Empty aircraft, 1,400 pounds, you and I on board. Long story short, your weight times your arm, and your arm is your distance from center of gravity, your reference point. Weight times arm equals moments. And then all of the moments divided by all of the weights is your center of gravity. But for my flight simulation purposes, this thing almost never wavers. I take myself, I take someone in the passenger seat, generally about 20 pounds of baggage in the rear, generally full fuel, and then oil is not factored into the empty weight, so we need to factor in oil as well. Weight and balance, we are going to be well within our flight envelope, so that should not be a concern there either. Okay, now I think we're ready to head to the plane, and we'll do a walk around. We'll get fueled up and connect to VATSIM, see what type of coverage we have, and go from there. I'll see you at the aircraft. Alright, hello everyone, and welcome aboard Felicity, November 8033 Fox. Okay, we are on the ground here at Princess Julianna. And give me just a second while I kind of get things all situated and set up here. I do want to thank everyone for taking some time out of their Monday evening to come in and hang out. Hope everyone had a good weekend and that your Father's Day went well. Okay. Alright, let's get our fuel and we'll do our walk around. So I'm going to go here to weight and balance. Customize. We're going to get full fuel. Got me on board and you on board with our gear in the back seat. Nothing in the baggage compartment. Total takeoff weight is 2,005 pounds. Just slightly over utility. Utility category for my aircraft is 2,000 pounds or under. Supply these changes. Okay. Let's get all of our lights on. Pitot heat. Let's get flaps down. And do a walk around. Baggage door is secure. Left rudder cable is nice and tight. Elevator is free and correct. Trim tab looks good. Beacon and our tail light is working. Our right rudder cable is nice and tight. Our VOR antennas are installed and secured. Our flap heim joints are tight. There's no excess play in there. We do have a green on the right with a strobe, and we'll take a look at our aileron, make sure that all of our piano hinges are in place, and they are. Right main looks good. Front main, strut, exhaust look good. Our prop and spinner looks good. Cylinder heads sound alright as I run my finger across the fins, listening for any changes in pitch to indicate a possible cracked cylinder head. Our static source is clear. Our pitot tube is clear and warm to the touch, so pitot heat is working. Let's get that off. Stall horn, taxi light, landing light, everything's working there. We have a strobe on the left with red. That's working. We'll take a look at our left aileron, make sure that's free. Piano hinges, heim joints are all nice and tight. Our left flap, same deal. We check that heim joint, checking the flap, make sure it doesn't have any excessive play in it. Left main looks good. And since we did just get fuel, we need to check our fuel caps, make sure they're installed properly and in a streamlined position, which the right one is. We'll check our left one that is also installed correctly. So let's go ahead and hop back into the plane. We'll get our loads off. And let's go ahead and connect to VATSIM. Give it some time to populate frequencies. Okay. Alright, pre-flight walk around and fuel is already done, so we're going to move right along to our interior checklist. And my name is Michael. I am going to be your pilot today. I do want to go over some quick safety information with you. The seatbelt in the aircraft operates just like the seatbelt does in your automobile. The male portion of the buckle inserts into the female latch, and when you hear the firm click, it's secure, and it releases the same way as the seatbelt does in your automobile. You just push the orange button, and it will pop right off. Interesting. I need to restart my flight controls. Couple air vents in the top left and top right of the aircraft. It is a ram style air effect. Why did I just lose my flight controls? Bear with me just a moment. Well, that's interesting. Alright, let me finish my safety briefing, then I'll have to dig into my flight controls real quick, figure out what's going on. Air vents to the top left and top right. It does work on a ram air style effect. So air is constantly being pushed in. So feel free to push those in or rotate them up or down to suit your fancy. I am going to recommend, however, that you don't have them aimed directly at your face, as that will tend to interfere with the intercom and headset. Fire extinguisher is located right behind us. It just snaps into the bracket back there. Just pop it out and pull it out. Type BC fire extinguisher will handle every sort of fire we might have encountered here on the aircraft. The way this fire extinguisher works is you would just pull this pin right here on the side. You'd aim the fire extinguisher at the base of the fire, squeeze the handle, and sweep it back and forth from side to side to hopefully extinguish that fire. There are a couple exits on the aircraft. You exit the aircraft the same way you got in. Door to the right. The way this door works, you just push the door open and it'll open. And then to close the door, you just pull it firmly closed. Like an old Cessna, sometimes you might have to lift up on a little bit. But when you hear the latch, it is fully secured. What else do we gotta talk about? Your headset goes over your head just like a pair of earmuffs would. Please ensure that the microphone is directly in front of your lips. If you cannot hear yourself talk, then I cannot hear yourself talk. Speaking of talking, feel free to talk throughout our flight. However, there may be a point in time when I need you to remain quiet while I'm talking with ATC. And if that is the case, I'll just hold up one finger and give you a little motion like that. That way you'll know when to refrain from talking, and then I'll go ahead and advise you when it's okay to talk again. And speaking of talking, I do like to hear about other airplanes in the sky. If you do see another aircraft, please feel free to go ahead and point that out to me. You can say things like, I see an aircraft on my right or a plane on my left, or if you prefer the o'clock nomenclature, that is acceptable as well. And 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Anybody have any questions on anything I've gone over so far? Alright, great. Now let me just take a look real quick here and see what's going on. So I got elevator. Okay, so it's working there. Okay, now it's working. Interesting. And out of curiosity, I want to check. This is going to be a VATSIM-ism thing, but I do want to see if we're in fact within a center currently. Okay, San Juan. I think we're just outside of... No, that can't be right. There's Nassau. There's Cuba, so we're east of Cuba and east of those islands there. Well, we may actually be covered. Alright, here we are here. I guess it is. Alright, so we'll have to talk to San Juan Center. 118.150. Okay. Alright, and we confirmed flight controls are still working. Okay. Went over our passenger brief. Got our tack time 29.7. Circuit breakers are all in. Alternate static errors in. Let's move right along to our start checklist. Seat track, let me get scooted up here so I can reach the flight controls. Alright, that. That does remind me, speaking of flight controls, the flight controls that are on your side where you're sitting at are also my flight controls. So feel free to scoot your seat up, but please don't scoot your seat up so far to where your chest will interfere with the full back position of the yoke that's in front of you. And that goes the same with the pedals that are down on the floor. And don't keep your feet planted on those rudder pedals. Alright, okay. Seat track, avionics are off. Carb heat is off. Autopilot's off. Make sure it's going to go full rich. Haven't flown in about a week or so, so we'll give it 4 shots of primer. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I did just remember that because I updated my graphics driver earlier, I do need to change an audio setting real quick because it seems to default to something else every time I update the driver. But that should get it there. Okay, we're good. Alright, okay. We've primed, brakes on. Clear prop. Just clear on the left. And we're clear on the right. And clear up front. Okay, master. Beacon going on. And Thanks to start. Brakes are on. Looking for oil pressure. Here we go. Alright, we do have engine rotation. Oil pressure is in the green. Need to hang out for just a minute for oil pressure to come up. Meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and file a VFR flight plan on the VATSIM. And we're just going to go right in here. VFR type 172. Lightweight category. We do have equipment slant golf on board because we are GPS equipped. Departure TNCJ, is that right? Tango Julianna. TNCM. And we're just gonna make this one Grand Cas. Off block time, we figure it's, we'll just call it 0055. Altitude 1,000 feet. Airspeed, figure 110 knots. Actually, less than that. Probably closer to 95 knots. It's gonna put us right about 110 miles per hour, which is about my cruise. And route time, 10 minutes. If that. What does ForeFlight calculate our route time at? 5 minutes. Alright, we'll call it 10 minutes. We've got 5.5 hours of fuel on board. Route details, VFR. And in the remarks, I like to put the channel name. We'll put thank you. If I was flying with one of the virtual flying clubs, Virtual USA Flying Club, I usually put, Virtual USA Flying Club in there. But we're on our own today, so this should be sufficient. Let's double check our flight plan, make sure this is valid and good. Looks good there, looks good. No alternate. Alright, flight plan is filed. Okay, so what else do we got here? Let's go ahead and get our taxi light on so that we can be seen. And that does complete our start checklist. So let's move right along to our pre-taxi checklist. And this is where I will ask you to go ahead and put your seatbelt on if you haven't done so already. My seatbelt is on. Let's get our flaps up. Not going to worry about turning the heat on, it's pretty warm, but let's get our avionics on. And we'll set our altimeter. And once we get some weather information, which through the magic of simulation, I'm hoping to just be able to push this button and pull that info.
Tango, November, Charlie, Mike, airport information, Foxtrot 0000, Zulu, weather, wind 095 at 6, visibility 10,000, sky condition, few clouds at 1,600, temperature 29, dew point 25, QNH 1018, advise on initial contact, you have information, Foxtrot.
Alright, QNH 1018. That's
Tango, November.
international way of providing the feet above sea level. And I don't have my conversion chart with me, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my altimeter to field elevation at Julianna, and that should give me some pretty accurate elevation. 14 feet. That looks good right about there. It's like 3008-ish. .3006 is what for flight. That's what I got, 3006. Okay, so that's accurate there. Density altitude, 1,800 feet, must be pretty warm. We need to factor that in for our performance. Okay. Wind was 080 and that's what they called there. What else? What else? What else? Okay, got our ATIS. We set our altimeter. In fact, let me go ahead and just write this ATIS information down, just so that I have it handy.
Tango, November, Charlie, Mike, airport information, Gulf 0000, Zulu, weather, wind 095 at 6, visibility 10,000, sky condition, few clouds at 1,600, temperature 29, dew point 25, QNH 1018, advise on initial contact, you have information, Gulf.
Alright, now we have that at our disposal.
Tango.
Get my compass light on here. Transponder, let's get that on. Mode Charlie. ADS-B is tied into my nav lights, let's get those on. Taxi lights already on. Brakes we'll test momentarily. Attitude and turn coordinator, we'll test on the roll. We need to test our radio. So what I'll do is I'm just gonna tune 12345.45 as active, and again 123.45 as active. Turn the audio on. Testing. Radio check. Okay. So we are transmitting, we are receiving. And San Juan was on 118.15. Let's get Unicom on standby. Let's monitor guard.
TWA 470, winds, calm. Wind 090 at 6, runway 10 clear to land. Clear to land at runway 10, TW 14 winds.
Steve 099, welcome aboard. Hello.
And can you repeat that last part? I didn't get it. Winds are at 10, you said, right? TW 470. 090 at 6 knots. 030, TW 470.
So we got one coming into land, it looks like, runway 10. Heading indicator to compass, let's set that. Looks to be right around there. Must have drifted quite a bit since I shut it down. So there's going to be traffic coming in this way. So he may be coming right across us. No, it's coming in this way. San Juan Center, November 8033 Foxtrot, on the ground at Julianna, VFR departure Grand Cas with the numbers.
And 8033 Foxtrot, squawk 1200, advise ready for taxi.
Squawk 1200 and will advise ready to taxi, November 8033 Foxtrot. Alright, tell you what, let's just kind of hop out, make sure we're clear behind us, and then we'll do a run up right here. Yeah, looks like we're clear. Alright. It's gonna run up out of the way, and then we'll be ready to taxi and just take off. So, brakes are on, fuel, let's get that to both. Trim set for takeoff. Flight controls down on the right, up on the left, down on the left, up on the right. Elevator and rudder, spraying correct. Okay. Mixture's in for best power. Primer's in and locked. Let's get 1600 on the RPM. Brakes are on, here we go. Left mag, there's a drop. Back to both. Right mag, there's a drop. Let's get back to both. Carb heat, there's another drop. Let's get carb heat off. Okay, we have oil pressure. Oil temperature looks good. Suction looks good. Fuel flow looks good. I actually do have a manifold pressure gauge in my aircraft, in this 172, and that looks good as well. Let's go ahead and check our throttle friction and idle back. Okay. San Juan Center, November 8033 Foxtrot, we're ready for taxi.
8033 Foxtrot, taxi holding point Alpha, report holding short.
Taxi via Alpha, report holding short, assuming runway 10.
Affirmative.
Roger, November 8033 Foxtrot. Steve 099, there is a way. You will need to import that airport into WED, which I'm assuming you've already done. But what you need to do is create an exclusion zone. Exclusion zones can only be drawn.
470, welcome to Julianna. Can you state your position on the field?
Can only be drawn in a square, so keep that in mind. But you would want to exclude objects, facades, and road networks.
And TWA 470, caution Cessna 172, taxi to the ramp at your discretion. Have a good night.
Maybe just try road networks and lines to begin with. If that doesn't take care of it, you'll need to exclude facades as well. But you can apply those exclusion attributes directly in WED once you create that exclusion zone. You can't do it until that exclusion zone is created.
And to the loop 470, the reason I asked you to use caution is that I don't have a field view at the moment, so I'm basically running blind over at Julianna. I can see him on Julianna's, actually, never mind, disregard it, TW 470. Cool. And Delta 904, sorry about that. Descend and maintain 11,000, San Juan, altimeter 3002.
Descend and maintain 11,000, altimeter 3002.
And Delta 904, any chance you can make Sailor at 11,000? If not, that's okay.
Looks like we're going to need vectors, probably descending too late.
Roger that. That's my mistake. If you can, make a right turn 20 degrees.
Right turn 20 degrees, Delta 904.
Why is... It's one of 4Flight's performance features. You get a kind of a taxi advisor. I need to sidestep a little bit. I need to check something outside of the cockpit, so I do apologize. Tell you what, let me just sidestep right over here. Hopefully I stay out of the way. Lean out just a little bit. I'll set the parking brake. I'll be right back. There's an external process that I do need to check real quick. That's better. When you fly with something so long, you realize and it's not working, then you realize how much you miss it. So when there's two butt kickers underneath each seat, kind of helps me feel the flight. So when I wasn't able to feel the flight,
set left turn,
I needed to clear that.
Right turn, 200.
Okay.
On the forward, right turn, 200.
Alright, clear. Parking brake off. Make sure it's going back ridge.
Approaching runway 10.
Alright, we're holding short 10. Let's get our strobes on. Let's get our landing light on. Confirm heading indicator compass. San Juan Center, November 8033 Foxtrot is holding short runway 10, number 1, ready VFR.
8033 Foxtrot, maintain VFR at or below 1,500 feet. Fly along the shoreline, clear for takeoff runway 10, winds 090 at 6 knots.
At or below 1,500 along the shoreline, November 8033 Foxtrot, clear takeoff 10.
Approaching runway 10. Enter runway 10, 7,100 feet remaining.
And Delta 904, are you able to direct Bino by any chance? Bravo Echo Alpha November Oscar.
Wow, they drew this taxi line pretty close to this threshold here.
No problem, it will be Bravo Echo Alpha November Oscar. And no worries about that. When
there you go.
Turn left.
Full power.
San Juan VOR.
Let's get ready for center.
Juliet uniform.
Maintain that rudder. Hold that center line. No need for much wind correction. There's our 60 knots. Rotate speed. Let's go. Positive rate.
Left direct San Juan VOR. Sierra Juliet uniform.
I'm not sure which shoreline he wanted me to take. Probably the one on the left. Let's climb out at 80.
And Delta 904, contact San Juan approach 119.4, thanks for help. November 8033 Foxtrot. Are you requesting traffic advisories for today or not?
We'll decline advisories until to Grand Case, and then on departure from Grand Case, I'll request them.
And 8033 Foxtrot, roger. Frequency change intercom is approved. See you on the way back.
Over to Unicom, November 8033 Foxtrot. I thought Grand Case was controlled. San Juan Center, November 8033 Foxtrot. I just want to clarify, we do not need a clearance to land at Grand Case, correct?
That is correct. Grand Case is uncontrolled field.
Roger, thank you, November 8033 Fox.
Tango, November, Charlie, Mike.
Well, that came up pretty quick. Yep, there it is right there. I'm gonna have to kind of circle around and re-grab a final, huh? Grand Case traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot is joining the left downwind, runway 12, full stop, Grand Case. Alright, so if that's uncontrolled, I'm gonna assume that St. Barts is uncontrolled also, considering they all shared the same tower frequency. And so we're a little bit far on our downwind, just kind of FYI. Grand Case traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot is turning left base 12, full stop, Grand Case. It is a bit turbulent over the water, I'm not gonna lie. Where are we at there? Okay, there it is. Grand Case traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot, left base to final approach, runway 12, full stop, Grand Case. Repeat on for descent. about 350 feet over the water. Alright, we are less than 100. I want 10 degrees flaps right now. There's a bubble up. Yeah, that came up real quick. I wasn't expecting it to be that quick. A little bit high on the glide slope, but we've got some buildings here that we need to kind of clear. And I think if we were actually on the glide slope, we'd probably run into them. Let's see. If we drop down to grab that glide slope, how does that look? Alright, we'll just skim these houses here. It's fine. Approach speed 65 miles per hour. Alright, we got a little bit of a crosswind coming there. Runway's made. Let's put that rudder in. Apply it all the way down. Put that left main down first. Okay. Flaps up. Alright. Well, that one wasn't awful, but we had a lot of runway to work with. Alright, we're going to keep our plane fired up, and we're going to file a new flight plan from Grand Case to St. Bart's. I'm going to stop right here, just hold short. Let's clean up our plane. Trim, flaps, fuel. Alright, so now we're Foxtrot, Foxtrot Golf to Foxtrot, Foxtrot Juliet. And now we're looking at 0120. Let's make it 0125. Altitude 1500. Road details is going to be the same. Everything there is still the same. You probably got 5 hours of fuel now. Probably more than that, but that's what I'm going to say. Everything else looks good. New flight plan. Call sign is in use. Let's give it a minute. There it is. Do we need to back taxi here? I suppose we probably do. Carpet off. Grand Case traffic, November HR 33 Foxtrot, back taxi runway 12, Grand Case. bit of a displaced threshold here that doesn't affect our takeoff. That only is going to affect our landing. So we can use it for our run. Let's flip us around. Let's go flaps 10. Yeah, it's a long runway. We don't need flaps 10. Grand Case traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot is taking runway 12, straight out departure. Grand Case. Full power. Rudder for center. Put that wind correction in. Airspeed's building. She's coming. She's ready to brake. Here we go. Neutral and rotate. Stay on that rudder. Positive rate.
San Juan Center, United 1067 at ATR 72 with Victor at overhead Zapata, flight level 200.
Alright, there's that island.
And United 1067 San Juan Center, squawk 5564.
5564, United 1067.
Alright, there's Horseshoe Island. Let's head direct that way. San Juan Center, November 8033 Foxtrot.
And November 8033 Foxtrot, San Juan Center, go ahead.
Type 172 slant golf. We are 2 miles east of Grand Cast, direct to St. Barts, climbing 1,500 feet and looking for VFR flight following. Traffic advisories.
And November 8033 Foxtrot to Roger, stand by for its walk-up. Foxtrot for the moment, and also like the US Squawk code, maintain VFR, Virginia direct Grand Con.
Maintain VFR, direct St. Barts, 8033 Foxtrot.
And United 1067, verify squawk info, Charlie.
Let me double check. How about now, United 1067?
There we go. United 1067, you're ready to contact flight level 200, a couple miles to the northwest of Zapata. Welcome aboard.
Alright.
Number 8033 Foxtrot, squawk 1214.
1214, November 8033 Foxtrot.
Foxtrot, you are radar contact. 900 miles to the east of the Julianna VOR, 1,500 feet.
Position checks, November 8033 Foxtrot. Okay, I see Horseshoe Island. Now remember, we need to be at 1500 over Sugarloaf, which is on our final approach.
San Juan Center, got 1067. I need to leave the cockpit for about 6-7 minutes.
That is approved. Let me know when you're back.
I'll let you know when I'm back. Thank you.
Truck 8 San Juan Center, hello. Brinking altimeter is 3005. Number 8033 Foxtrot, you familiar with the Grand Coast area?
Yes, do you want me to call the reporting points for you?
Affirmative, thank you.
We'll go November 8033 Foxtrot. I'm not familiar. We're gonna do our best. We briefed this pretty good, so I'm assuming we'll be alright. Well, that's awesome that we get those reporting. We can call those reporting points that we briefed. San Juan Center, November 33 Foxtrot is over Horseshoe.
And Roger, no traffic observed. Skytruck 8, do you have an approach request at Borington? Roger. Skytruck 8, you can expect sectors for the visual approach runway 8.
Alright, I think that Sugarloaf just off of our nose there that I can barely see.
November 8033 Foxtrot, report Sugarloaf in sight.
Sugarloaf in sight, November 8033 Foxtrot.
8033 Foxtrot, radar services are terminated. Monitor intercom 122.8 and have a good landing.
Thank you for your service, over to Unicom, November 8033 Foxtrot. St. Barts traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot is over Sugarloaf, landing 10, St. Barts. Alright, we're 1500 feet over Sugarloaf. Let's start a descent. Put his power back. Carpeet's going on. Okay, runway is in sight. No flaps, don't want any flaps yet. Okay, give me flaps 10, we're good enough speed.
Jordan, find the runway 10.
Okay, windsock in sight, windsock in sight. Flaps 2. No, full flaps. Give me full flaps. Full flaps. Approach speed 65 miles per hour. Rotate. Oh, this thing goes downhill. Alright. Well, we made it. Alright, that was fun. Carpet off. Trim, take off. Looks like we need to back taxi. So there's a turn around here. Austin Space 175. Thank you for that bit of advice. Yeah, I just knocked my flap switch off too. Alright, let's clear this runway, and I need to find my flap switch that I just pulled off. It's just a 3D printed plastic thing that slides over the actual metal lever. Sometimes it pops off. Let's get across this line. Okay. St. Barts traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot is clear runway 10 and at the ramp, St. Barts. Parking brake on. Let me lean out just a little bit. Let me find my flap switch. There it is. Alright, let's try that again, shall we? There was no departure, 28. Yep, takeoff prohibited, 28. So let's do one more in the pattern. Let's see. Immediate left-hand turn, and then we're climbing back to 1,500 feet. Flaps up, parking brake off, mixture full rich. Hot spot, hot spot, hot spot. Little bit of terrain elevation issues.
Approaching runway 10. Runway 10, 2,000 feet remaining.
St. Barts traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot is taking runway 10. Left close traffic, St. Barts. Carpeet's off, mixture's rich. Let's go flaps 10. And let's take a look here. Immediate left-hand turn, and we're going to climb 1,500 feet, and then into a downwind. And then once we're kind of in between Horseshoe and Sugarloaf, that's kind of the end of our downwind leg. So I'll make that left base. Alright, short field takeoff, flaps 10, brakes are on. Double check heading indicator, compass. Full power. Hold it, hold it. Alright, she's building. Stirrups are on. Alright, let's go. Rudder. Come on. Come on, airspeed. Rotate. Alright, we're up. Positive rate. Make that left turn. Now we need to climb up to 1,500. And the reason we're doing 1,500 is for separation from traffic going into Julianna and Grand Case. Turn downwind. St. Barts traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot, left crosswind, turning left downwind, St. Barts. Let's level off here. Turn for this. Horseshoe Island is right over there. And Sugarloaf is right over there. And once we're kind of in the middle of them both, it's kind of the end of our downwind leg. And then once we land again at the airport, I will show you the windsocks that I did for this flight, that I used for my aiming points based on, you know, the videos that I watched. Okay, looks good there. Alright, there's Sugarloaf there. St. Bart's traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot, turning left base 10, St. Bart's. We're 1,500 feet. We need to be at 1,500 feet when we cross back over Sugarloaf. Or left rudder. Okay, Sugarloaf right there. Need to be at 1,500 feet when we cross it. St. Bart's traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot, turning final approach 10 St. Bart's. Alright, over Sugarloaf, 1,500. Okay, there it is. Let's start a descent. Power back. Let's get the creep heat on. Got my aiming point. Runway's in sight. Alright, give me flaps 1 right now. Oh. Flaps 2. That's not the airport. Oh no. That's not the runway. Oh no. That's not the runway. Oh, I pulled those flaps out. We lost a lot of lift. No good, Michael. You know better than that. Yeah, that's not it. Nope. Sure wasn't. And we're gonna go around. St. Bart's traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot is on the departure, and 10 going around St. Bart's. I tried, there was nobody available. I had my visual point, and I don't know what happened. I don't know if I lost it somehow. Alright, let's get back up to 1,500, where we need to be. Yep, there's the runway right there. St. Bart's traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot is turning left crosswind 10 St. Bart's. We'll try this again, only this time without the oops. Carpet off. St. Barts, November 33 Foxtrot is turning left downwind 10, full stop, St. Barts. Horseshoe Island. Yeah, we're not gonna make this mistake again. So we'll land here again, for real this time. I mean it this time. We'll land here and then we'll probably depart and go back to Julianna for another full stop, and then I'll probably have to go. We are definitely gonna do this one again, preferably on a more windy day. St. Barts traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot is turning left base runway 10, St. Barts. Right, Sugar Loaf is right, and right down there. There it is. St. Barts traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot is over Sugar Loaf for final approach 10 St. Barts. Okay, power back, carpet on. Flaps 10. Alright, airport environment is made. This time, for real. I mean it. I hope. No, I mean it. Approach speed, 70 miles per hour. We're at 10 degrees of flaps. Got my aiming point. Where's my wind socks? Okay. Still got a bit of a crosswind there. Let's go flaps 2. And let's go all full flaps. All the flaps. Get all those flaps in. Okay, there's a windsock. There's a windsock. Say maybe about a 20-degree crosswind, roughly. Alright, here's our transition. Flaps up. Brakes on. Yep, we're gonna have to try this on a windier day. We're definitely coming back here. I don't fly outside the United States often, but this is fun. This one's fun. Alright, are we clear there? Alright, let's cross this line all the way. Make sure our tail's over. St. Barts traffic, November Guitar 33 Foxtrot is clear 10, St. Barts. Trim, let's get back to that for takeoff. Strobes going off for now. Landing light off for now. And then real quick we'll hop out and I'll show you my windsocks. And then we'll take back off, head back to Julianna, then I'll have to call it a night. So this one wasn't here, so let me just do it like this. So we have, there's our runway 10. There's supposed to be 2 windsocks, but they were kind of short, so I put them on a pylon, kind of lifted them up in the air a bit, and this one wasn't even here, so we put this one in too, and again put this one on a pylon, so it's a bit higher, easier to see from back there, from the arrival end. But those are the only 2 changes I did to this airport. This is the newest one available on the X-Plane Scenery Gateway. A very reputable Laminar employee and artist did this one, so I didn't want to mess with it a whole lot. And I'm not even going to submit these changes to the gateway. I'm just going to keep these local. I might message him to see what he says about it. But from the videos we've watched, we have this is our aiming point between these 2 windsocks. Alright, back in the plane. Smoke VFR. Alright, and again no departures on runway 28, so we're gonna go back runway 10. And we'll head back to Julianna for our full stop.
Approaching runway 10.
Well, that whole short line needs to be reversed, I can tell you that much. That should actually be flipped around. The solid, I should be on the solid line, the dotted line should be that way. So maybe I am going to have to submit this one for some very minor changes. Strobes going back on. St. Bart's traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot is taking runway 10, left crosswind departure, St. Bart's. Let's fill out a new VFR flight plan real quick. We are TFFJ and we're going back to Tango November Charlie Mike. Okay. We can be at 1,000 feet roughly for this one. Alright, let's go. Strobes on, landing light on. Flaps 10. And brakes are on. Again, short field takeoff. Let's go full power. And wait for it to build. That's all she's got. Alright, brakes off. Rudder. Okay, we're flying. Alright, positive right. Make that left turn.
Tango, Foxtrot, Juliet, airport information, Lima 0138, Zulu, weather, wind 089er at 10, visibility 10,000, sky clear, temperature 28, dew point 22, QNH 1018, advise on initial contact, you have information, Lima. Tango, Foxtrot, Juliet, airport information.
Flaps out. Flaps up, I should say. Here's our 1,000 feet. Just hang out here. We'll power back some. And we are heading back to Princess Julianna. Right, center's offline, so we'll be making our calls on Unicom. I do want to thank everyone for coming in and hanging out this evening. Kind of wish the winds were a little bit stronger, give us a little bit more of a challenge getting in there, but it was still fun. I still had a good time. I'm pleased to know that the center was also familiar with the reporting points for St. Bart's, so that kind of added a bit more realism into our flight, which was cool. Julianna traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot, type 172, slant golf, 10 miles east, landing, runway 10, Julianna. Right traffic into runway 10. So that kind of helps us out based on where we're at. We can just enter that right downwind. I can't wait till X-Plane 12.06 is released. That takes care of this water rendering bug. This is a phenomenon that happens when you've got displays of multiple resolutions. But they did take care of that in 12.06, which right now is in private testing, it's my understanding, so hopefully it won't be too much longer before it's released. Alright, Julianna's in sight. Airport environment is in sight. Well, now we're getting bumped around a little bit. Melvin, hello my friend. Are you talking about at Julianna, or are you talking about at VATSIM Expo this weekend? Julianna traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot is entering the 45 for the right downwind, runway 10, full stop, Julianna. Alright, let's grab this downwind. Runway looks clear. Okay, we're gonna beam the numbers. There is a displaced threshold. Let's keep that in mind. Alright, power back. 1600. Car feed's gonna go on. Let's grab 10 degrees of flaps. Capture 80. Alright, looks like a good 45. Lift my right wing, looks clear. Let's grab right base. Julianna traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot. It's grabbing the right base, runway 10, full stop, Julianna. Alright, my backwards base looks clear, and 10 final looks clear. Runway's clear, I'm clear to land. Julianna traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot, turning final, approach 10, full stop, Julianna. Runway's made, power's coming out. Flaps 2.
Short final runway 10.
There's that displaced threshold. Alright, we're good, we're stabilized. Let's just keep this pitch in. I like this, we're looking good. Let's give that guy a haircut. Just kidding. Let's transition. Shift focus all the way down the runway. That was a bit harder than I wanted. repeat all. Alright, we're across that line. Let's clean up. Flaps going up. Trim. Let's get that back for takeoff. Let's get our strobes off. And let's go find a spot to park our plane. In fact, we'll just go right back to where we were. How about that? Julianna traffic, November 8033 Foxtrot is clear of runway 10 and taxi to the ramp, Julianna. Spirit Airlines, Virgin Airlines. Okay. So these are not deep normal. So this iconic airport must have been done with some different objects, and then they give us an WED 2.05, because I don't recall seeing any Spirit airliners available as an object in WED 2.5. I could be wrong. I don't normally design airports with airliners, but I just don't recall seeing them. Outstanding. That was fun. I really enjoyed that one. We're gonna do it again. Next time, hopefully it's going to be a bit windier, give us some more crosswind, make that approach a bit more challenging. And let's park right here. This looks good. Outstanding. Alright. After landing, flaps up, carpets off. Yep, did all that. Landing light going off. Okay. PO heat wasn't on. Don't need to worry about that. Transponder. Good there. EOT is silent. Alright. Saba. I have to put that on my list. Where's that at? Let's see. United States Virgin Islands? I'm not sure if that's the exact one you're referring to or not. We'll get together on that one. Okay. So it's not actually too far from where we're at. Alright, where are we at now? Avionics, let's go off. G5's going down. November Charlie Sierra. $1,300 feet. That one's even shorter than we were just at St. Barts, Netherlands. Alright, we'll have to, we'll incorporate that one into our next flight. That will work. So yeah, hopefully the next one, well, we'll discuss a bit more back in the FBO. Avionics mixture, it's gonna go full lean, maxed off, master off, fuel, left tank. Okay, lights going off. All of our lights are off. Alright, keys out. me disconnect from VATSIM. Alright, and I'll see you back at the FBO.
Alright, everyone. I had a great time with this flight. I do want to thank M. Stein for bringing this one to my attention. Really kind of it was just fun. A was international, kind of different than the domestic flying that I normally do. I do want to go ahead and give another recognition to Fly Me to the Fun for the video we watched earlier at the beginning of the stream. So I do want to credit that YouTuber for that video, and I'll be sure to do that in the video description as well after it's all done processing. And JPC, I totally missed your raid. I missed that notification, so thank you so much for that raid earlier. So sorry that I missed it. And new follow from Kurt Deasy. I appreciate that new follow, so thank you so much for coming in with the raid and sticking around and for that follow. Real quick debrief what we did today. We started out with a quick video. By no means was it any sort of formal instruction, but it was a very informative as far as reporting points, windsock locations, things like that. So that was fun. We departed out of Princess Julianna. We made a short hop up to Grand Case, which I flew right past because it came up quick, crept up on me pretty quickly. But that's alright, we were able to make that roundabout to grab a sort of a short left base to final approach into Grand Case. And then from there we essentially replicated the flight that we saw in the video earlier. And our reporting points again were Horseshoe Island and Sugarloaf, and with San Juan Center requesting those reporting points, that really kind of enhanced the experience with flying into St. Bart's. So that made it fun, calling those reporting points out. The first landing went well. The second landing was almost on a road. It was nowhere near the airport. I don't know how I lost that situational awareness, to be honest. I really don't. But luckily, I recognized that it wasn't the airport, and we were able to do a successful go-around. I say successful because I made a very, very bad mistake, and I know better than this. We were already slow. I mean, our airspeed was probably 65 miles per hour on that approach. And I had 2 notches of flaps in, and in that go-around, I pulled those flaps out way too quick and lost a lot of lift. In reality, that could end up bad. So don't do that. Don't pull your flaps out if you're going, you need to get that power back in and get that airspeed built back up before you pull those flaps back out. So I'm gonna ding myself on that. But our third landing attempt turned out alright again. And then back to Princess Julianna for our final stop. So overall, it was a successful flight. I wish that the winds were a bit stronger. I wanted some more of that crosswind challenge. But you know, we fly with what we're given. And I wanted to be on VATSIM during the flight, so we need to use those real winds. I suppose I could have disconnected and modified the winds. Sometimes it's kind of difficult to do that, adding all those wind layers in manually. So again, thank you all for coming in and hanging out this evening. Normally we do something on Tuesday night, but with Flight Sim Expo coming up this weekend, I'll probably take tomorrow night and just kind of get things ready. Make sure that everything's packed properly as we fly out Thursday morning for Houston, Texas, landing at Houston Hobby for the Flight Sim Expo 2023 at the Lone Star Flight Museum. Really looking forward to it. Looking forward to meeting a lot of the friendly people I've gotten to know on Twitch and through various Discord channel servers and flight simulation groups. So it's really going to be a lot of fun. Hope to see some of you down there. I do believe that's it for me this evening. Again, I do want to thank you all for coming in and hanging out. Let's see who we can go and raid. Melvin Leroy, have a great evening. We'll see you in Texas. Absolutely. Tell you what, we've got a couple options. Honolulu Center is online, so let's go and raid BW Flight Simulation. He looks like he's controlling Honolulu Center on VATSIM right now. If you can't stay for his show, please just stay for the raid. And again, my name is Michael. I was your pilot this evening. Y'all take care and stay safe. It was my pleasure flying with you. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.